The 19th century saw America transform. Vast distances separated communities. Transportation was slow, relying on horses and waterways. Then came the railroads. The first steam locomotives were met with excitement and skepticism. Could these iron horses truly conquer the vastness of the nation? Early railroads were modest affairs. Short lines connected towns and transported goods like coal, but their potential was obvious. Railroads meant faster travel and reliable trade. Investors poured money into new lines, eager to connect the growing nation. The railroads became a symbol of progress and ambition. They fueled the expansion westward, opening up new territories for settlement and industry. The once formidable barrier of the Rocky Mountains was breached by tracks of steel. The railroad was changing the face of America. The railroad boom spurred incredible innovation. Engineers designed bigger and more powerful locomotives. The iconic American 440 locomotive, with its large forward wheels, became a symbol of the era. Tracks spanned rivers and climbed mountains. The first transcontinental railroad, completed in 1869, was a monumental achievement. It connected the Atlantic and Pacific coasts, shrinking travel time from months to days. The expansion of railroads had a profound impact on American life. Towns boomed into cities along the rail lines. The transportation of goods became faster and cheaper, fueling economic growth. People could travel farther and more easily than ever before, connecting communities and spreading ideas. The late 19th and early 20th centuries marked the golden age of railroads. Elegant passenger trains crisscrossed the nation, offering luxurious accommodations and breathtaking views. The railroads became the lifeblood of American commerce, transporting everything from coal and steel to agricultural products and manufactured goods. Competition was fierce, with companies vying for passengers and freight contracts. This led to further improvements in technology and service. Railroads invested in larger locomotives, smoother tracks, and safer signaling systems. The industry employed millions of Americans, from engineers and conductors to track workers and station agents. As the 20th century progressed, cracks began to appear in the dominance of the railroads. The automobile emerged as a serious competitor, offering individual freedom and flexibility that trains could not match. The development of paved roads and the rise of the trucking industry further challenged the railroads' hold on freight transport. Initially, the railroads dismissed these new modes of transportation as passing fads. They underestimated the public's desire for personal mobility and the efficiency of trucking for shorter hauls. As the automobile and trucking industries matured, they began to chip away at the railroad's market share. The real turning point came after World War II. The federal government invested heavily in the interstate highway system, a network of high-speed roads that would crisscross the nation. This system, while a boon for the trucking industry and individual motorists, spelled disaster for the railroads. Trucks could now transport goods faster and more directly than ever before, often door to door. Passenger trains, facing stiff competition from airlines and automobiles, saw their ridership plummet. Many railroads, burdened by high operating costs and outdated infrastructure, struggled to compete. Section 6, the economic fallout, job losses, and community impacts. The decline of the railroad industry had a ripple effect across the American economy. Thousands of miles of track were abandoned and countless stations fell into disrepair. Towns that had once thrived as railroad hubs found themselves bypassed and struggling. The loss of jobs in the railroad sector was significant. Skilled workers, many of whom had spent their lives on the railroad, found themselves out of work. The decline of the industry contributed to the broader economic woes of the Rust Belt as manufacturing jobs also disappeared. Section 7, a glimmer of hope, the resurgence of freight. Despite the challenges, the railroad industry did not disappear entirely. In the 1970s and 80s, a renewed focus on freight transport offered a glimmer of hope. Railroads consolidated, shedding unprofitable lines and investing in more efficient locomotives and freight cars. The deregulation of the industry in 1980 fostered competition and innovation. railroads became more responsive to the needs of their customers, offering specialized services and competitive rates. Today, freight trains remain a vital part of the American economy, transporting vast quantities of goods over long distances. Section 8. The future on track, high-speed rail and beyond. While freight transport has provided a lifeline for the industry, passenger rail travel in the United States still lags behind many other developed nations. The dream of a nationwide high-speed rail network, one that could rival those in Europe and Asia, has been discussed for decades but remains largely unrealized. Proponents of high-speed rail argue that it would reduce congestion on highways, decrease reliance on fossil fuels, and provide a fast and efficient way to connect major cities. However, the high cost of construction, the vast distances involved, and the political challenges have so far prevented the widespread adoption of high-speed rail in the United States. Section 9. Conclusion. The enduring legacy of the railroad. The railroad industry, once a symbol of American progress and ingenuity, has undergone a dramatic transformation over the past century. While it no longer holds the dominant position it once did, the railroad remains an essential part of the nation's transportation infrastructure, particularly for freight transport. The legacy of the railroad is etched into the American landscape, from the rusting tracks of abandoned lines to the bustling freight yards of major cities. It is a legacy of innovation, ambition, and the enduring human desire to conquer distance and connect communities. Whether the railroad can regain its former glory in the age of high-speed travel remains to be seen, but its impact on the nation's history and development is undeniable.